one of the things that we try to, and Ron, that was right on point, but one of the things that we train our reps to do right away is do not lie to the buyers. Because once you lie to a buyer, if you went out and you saw a business and the guy lied to you about any part of the business, you're never going to trust him. The deal's dead. I'll never be able to say, go and talk to them again. It's over, finished, for now. So we always tell our sellers, always tell the truth, always tell us that stuff that you could back up, that you have records to back up, because if you don't, this deal's never happening. It's a waste of everybody's time, like Ron just said. But it's a hunting process. It's a horrible process, folks. It's not easy, right?
Oh, this isn't going to be fun?
It's not. Listen, you know what? Some of our clients love it. We have what we call professional buyers. They get the emails and our phones start ringing. And they'll buy $1 million business over the telephone and then go in and do the due diligence. You know, they'll lock it up and then they'll swing in, do the due diligence. Either the deal's going to happen or it'll get killed. We have those buyers, don't get me wrong. But 99.9% of our buyers are regular people. I'm a regular guy. I started with nothing. I didn't come from a rich family. I worked hard. I built businesses. I sold businesses. It's a great thing. Being an entrepreneur is fantastic, okay? But you have to work. You have to work at it. And this is going to be the hardest piece of your work right here. Finding the one that you love. Finding the one that you can use your skill sets to grow. But, you know, being an entrepreneur is really cool.
On the brokerage side, are cash businesses as difficult as I've been told to purchase and to get financing for, like a gas station, a bar, restaurant, those types of businesses?
There's no such thing as a cash business, right? There are businesses that take cash in, but the entrepreneur has a fiduciary responsibility to the U.S. government to deposit all the money into the bank and to show all the money. Now, you and I know that, you know, people are people. And, you know, I use this analogy, okay? Most entrepreneurs are not crooks. Most entrepreneurs are very hardworking, good family people, right? Take John Smith. He owns a dry cleaning store. He's on his way home. His wife calls him in the car, right? We all have cell phones today. His wife says, hey, John, could you stop off at the deli because my dad and mom are here, and get one of those, get 2 rotisserie chickens, get you know, some bottles of soda, get some French fries, and come home. And John's looking. He looks in his pocket. He looks at the bag that he just, you know, he closed the store, and he has, you know, $500 in the store in that bag, and he takes $50 or $75 out of that bag. Okay, he's not supposed to do that. Now, our job at Vest would be a tremendous job. It would be so easy if every entrepreneur put every single dollar in a bank. What happens is he takes that $75, he buys the food, and on Monday morning when he makes his deposit, there's only $4.25 in the account instead of $500, and that's illegal. He's not allowed to do that. Okay, but does it happen? I know it happens. Okay, I'm not happy about it. My job would be so easy. You press QuickBooks and you looked at tax returns and everything was there, and all you folks would say cash businesses. There wouldn't be a reason to buy a cash business because nobody would ever buy a cash business because there's no such thing as cash business, right?
As part of their representation, do you actually require at least tax return?
Yeah, well, we ask them to, during the due diligence process, we ask them to give, you're going to make a list of everything that you want. You're going to ask them for tax returns, you're going to ask them for bank statements, you're going to ask them for check register, you're going to ask them for, what was that? You're going to ask them for every single documentation. It might be, now, some people don't have very good books and records. Those are deals that are non-financeable. Maybe not be a bad business, but you can't go to a bank and borrow the money, okay? I remember I was at a trade convention. I was speaking, and they had a commercial going, and it had a guy in a big beautiful yacht, and he was looking down at a guy in a dinghy, and the guy in the dinghy was rowing, and the guy in the yacht says, "Hey Harry, I heard you sold your business," and he goes, "Hey Steve, I heard you did too." He goes, "Harry, how'd you do this?" He goes, "I kept good books and records," and the guy who keeps the good books and records, believe it or not, he has value.
Makes more money in the long run.
In the long run, you're going to make, if you could prove the amount of money that you're making and you're bulletproof, you're going to get a multiple of X, and you'd be happy to pay for it as a buyer. But, you know, unwinding that, and this is, you know, this is an uncomfortable conversation for me because we're not running their business. We're not taking that money out of the bag. These are the entrepreneurs that are doing it. So my piece of advice to every single entrepreneur in this room. Keep good books and records. Do not cheat the government. Make sure you're paying the appropriate taxes. And live life, when you put your head on the pillow, like it's supposed to be. And you'll grow your business. And you'll grow value in your business. And before you know it, you'll have a business that you can sell for, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, depending on what you buy. When I say that, everybody buys a business, and then they say, how do we make it scalable? Does anybody know what scalable is? Like how to grow it, right? So, one of the things that I look at in most of the companies that we analyze is they're missing a component of growth, right? So, they might have a good business, but the component of growth, like we look at their collateral material. First thing I say, you have a brochure? What's your salespeople like? And I'll tell you, have had some great companies that are doing great, right? They have one salesman or two salesmen and 30 people working. They should have 30 salesmen and 60 people working, right? That's how you grow the business. But they didn't have the mix right. And what happens is a lot of entrepreneurs get in the soup. They think they're doing it right. There's no owner's manual on learning how to be an entrepreneur, right? That's why that guy's a real success. How did he do it? There's no owner's manual, right? You got to learn how to do it. You got to learn how to do it. I always say get a mentor. Go to the guys that score. They're awesome. These are entrepreneurs. These are guys that have done it. I'm going to be a score guy when I retire. All right? I've seen it all. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be helping the entrepreneurs all day long because I love the deal. I love the business. I love putting them together. It's awesome,
What have you seen in terms of multiples over the last few years? The business owners that have been out there, run the business for 5-6 years, maybe kept a decent set of books. What's the mindset out there for the current owners versus, today's multiple?
Multiples go anywhere from 1.5 times to 4. If it gets over 4 times, it's ridiculous. I use this analogy in our firm when the brokers talk to me on multiples. You bring me Google in a private sector, I'm giving you a 4-time multiple for that company because I know I could grow it. People buy what is, not what is going to be tomorrow. You're going to grab the multiple for what is tomorrow. So if you're buying a business today, I strongly suggest don't ever go over a 4-time multiple on a business. With the average multiples in our firm going anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 time multiple of owner's discretionary cash flow benefit the operating owner.
You might want to explain multiple of what.
Right. Okay. So multiple of what is like there's when you look at a business through a business broker or through a lawyer or an accountant, they refer you to a business. The guy's going to say, well, what's the benefit to the owner who owns the business? Now, the benefit is obviously his salary, right? Then he might take benefits out of the business, like a car might be paid for the business, insurances might be paid for the business. Depreciation is an add back, might be part of the business. So that number, let's say it was $100,000, it might be $140,000 or $150,000 of what they call owner's discretionary cash flow, a benefit to the guy who's running that business. And then they tag a multiple based on the industry. Now, every single industry trades at a different multiple. Now, we've been in this business for 11 years, and we're the only company in the world that has done this. We've tracked the multiples on every single category that we've done, and we have that data for you. So your broker could tell you, right now, the current marketplace, to answer your question, in a car wash in the United States, we have 500 of them available for sale, and they're trading at a 4.8 time multiple. Or they might be trading higher. Net. Or a florist, and I just looked at this yesterday, is trading at a 2.2 times multiple. Why? Does anybody know why a car wash would probably trade at a higher multiple than a florist?
Profitability.
A, profitability, but B, most car washes are run absentee. The guy who's there, who owns it, is not washing. So that would grab a higher multiple. So the easier the business is to run, the higher the multiple would be on the sell side. And the more profitable it is, the higher the multiple would be.
Just verify the cash flow number that you see when you're looking at a person's business. That includes insurance and benefits, or that's after insurance, benefits, everything that he takes?
The ODC, the owner's discretionary cash flow that we use as a guideline, is the benefit that the seller's telling us that he takes out of his business. It's all inclusive. So when you look at the businesses, you gotta say, is this salaries or is this benefits? And you gotta figure it out. That's part of the due diligence process. But an accountant, a business advisor, a good business forensic accountant guy could sit down with you and he'll demystify the whole process. And he'll say, all right, here's what to expect. And this is what you're gonna earn if you own this business.
Have you seen a dramatic shift in the multiples in the last, say, 3-4 years?
Well, I think the multiples are getting higher, to be frank with you. And the reason the multiples are getting higher is that, corporate America isn't cool anymore. Main Street and small business is coming back. I mean, I think we're in the market conditions, we're in a very unique position. And I haven't seen this in 11 years. There are so many people looking to become entrepreneurs today. And so many of these people they're not the 28-year-old kid or 25-year-old kid who just finished college who can't find a job, who's looking for a business. Now we're getting some of those, and their fathers are buying businesses for those guys. But these are people who have knowledge. These are very bright buyers. They're very bright, and they have a lot of knowledge in their body, and they want it. They're not tired. They're not done. They're not ready to retire. These are people who are ready to share their knowledge with a team, but they need resources, right? So that's why they're buying existing businesses, because when you start a business, it's you. I remember that day. I remember the day that I rented the office, and I got a folding table, and I had one phone, and I turned around, and my secretary wasn't there, and I said, "Oh my God, I got to write the letter myself," and I was frantic, right? I remember that day, okay, and thank God it happened pretty quickly. Within like maybe 6 or 8 months, we had about 20 people working full time. But it was that day is a very frightening day. Now, our entrepreneurs don't have that problem because they buy a business, they have employees right then and there. They have resources. They have people that have knowledge around them, but they have intrinsic knowledge. They have knowledge to grow these businesses to a next level. It's really great.
So just to add to that, so what you're seeing is because there's a lot of displaced talent coming into the market with money, the multiples are actually rising despite the poor economy.
Right. I mean, I'm seeing deals like over the last 11 years. If we got a deal and it went through due diligence and it passed all the muster, and sometimes it doesn't. A big portion of our deals fall apart during the due diligence phase. That's why it's not a pretty scene. It's not fun. But if it went through due diligence, the sellers never backed out on the deal. What I'm seeing today is sometimes sellers are backing out. Sellers are saying, you know what? I can get higher. Next year I'll get more money for it. I'll just keep it for another 8 months, and I'll get more. I'll get a bigger multiple next year, because for every dollar that they get, they might get 3 times that on the sales side. So we're seeing that grow, and it's supply and demand, right? So you have a big buying demand and a limited selling demand. It's gonna bring the prices up.
Nathan, I know you said not to focus on the numbers, but I just add a question about the numbers on the example that you used.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the business that was on